we might continue our design work by trying to pick a species that would give a fairly dramatic effect in the lower left corner of our design. This is the street here, and it's a street view. And if we go to the photos page, I've got a layout page where I've just popped some photos. The house itself's got some interesting light-coloured cladding and some prominent vertical columns in it. And I would suggest that ginkgo biloba, which grows well in that locality, might well be a very nice feature plant. There it is as a very young plant. Here it is as a mature plant. Let's go back to the model, and we'll come over here in our design area and see if we can see something that looks somewhat like it. We want a symbol that looks a little similar. So if we click this one here, I'll just pan across so you can see it. This one I think will give us some sort of feel for that particular plant. So I'll roll out, right click and copy. Do as we did before. We copy it and put it into that zone and finish. So it's a relatively large tree, so we need to scale it at least by a factor of 5. So there's one representation, if you like, of a ginkgo. We probably need, I still like my groups of 3. You might not, but I'll put 3 in there and finish. Right click, unselect all. And again, do the same as we did before. I'll rescale that one down by, say, 0.7, so it becomes a little smaller. This one I'll rescale to 0.6, so we've got a little clump of them there. We might move them so that they're a little closer together. You can plant these things in one hole, and that gives you the trunks intermesh and the canopies intermesh. So we're building our design up. We've put a group of 3 in there, and we've got a relatively nice street view going, I think. Some sort of sense of enclosure can be gained by slightly mounding the area, as I've done at the bottom of the screen. To mound an area or indicate that, we'd use a polyline, and I'll select the polyline command, and you simply click, and we're putting in a polyline, which is a multiple line segment, and I'll just roughly trace and right click and enter close the shape that I want. I'll then select the polyline. You come over here, and for curve fitting, just pick quadratic B-spline curve fitting, and in goes the mounding. We can very easily put another indicator for maybe another foot or so higher. So let's do that. If you right click, repeat the polyline, you can just put another polyline in that section there. Right click, enter close, select that polyline and make it quadratic B-spline. Let's zoom in on it. And things are getting a little confusing. We want to make sure that the mounding is underneath the trees. So we just select those 2 and go to Tools and Draw Order and Send to the back. Now we can be confident that the lines indicating the mounding go behind the symbol. I'd now like to put a fairly large, broad swathe of prostrate junipers in that zone on top of the mound and under the birch trees. I'll right-click and select Zoom Extents, which gives me access to the whole drawing, and come over here and roll the mouse away from me and just have a little look through the preloaded symbols and see whether there's anything suitable to indicate that, and I think you'd agree there's not. So I'll Zoom Extents, zoom back in here and select Draw. Insert block from library. gCADPlus comes with a wide range of symbols. We can go to Plants and Sized. And we now see a series of folders. One of the folders contains ground cover plants. There's small trees, mini shrubs and so on. These are generic symbols. They're not allied to a particular species. We go into ground cover. We can get a quick look at the ground cover symbols by just clicking on any one of them, then using the down arrow key on the keyboard. And ground cover symbol number 8 looks reasonable. We'll open it, and we need to find ground cover symbol 8. There it is, and insert it into this drawing. We'll OK it, and in it comes. So we can pop it down as though it's being located there on the mound. I'll do what I did before, which is to copy it. So we need a number of these to get the sort of effect that we want. And finish. We might do as we did before and just select them and rotate them so they look more realistic. And maybe we might select one or two. This one here, we'll scale it. We'll make it 1.5 times larger, and we'll do the same here. Scale this one and make it, say, 1.3 times larger. So now we're getting a look and a feel of what we want. I still think we could probably scale that one and make it, say, 1.2. So there's our set of symbols. Again, I'll make sure that they are below the birch trees, and this time I'll do that in a slightly different way. So if we select all of these, rather than send them to the back, we have an option under Tools, Draw Order. We can send under an object. So if we say send under an object, the reference object is the birch symbol. So now they're under the reference object, but not necessarily right at the back. So when we go to print this zone within here, we'll get the right sort of effect. I've added some more planting along here, some Japanese maples and some azaleas. So I've effectively screened that side of the house. The next stage is to see if we can design some sort of entrance feature that will guide people from the street to the house.